worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wander, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wander, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane, where our mission is to join together to create a nourishing, liberal religious home and to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in our wider world, or as we say in short, find meaning, work for justice. Excellent. Thank you. Welcome to one and all. I want to begin, as usual, by embracing all that you bring with you to this place this morning, all of your unique beliefs and background and lifestyle and experiences and all that helps make you who you are is welcome here this morning. This includes those who hear us say this each Sunday is an important part of our start, as well as those who might be hearing it for the first time today. You're equally as welcome and appreciated. And of course, it is also true of those who are streaming with us from both near and far. We're glad to know that you're with us as well. So welcome to one and all. Before you take a few moments to greet one another, wanted to mention just a couple of things. One, we've had a couple of members pass away recently, and are actually having a memorial service for one of our beloved members, Char Wilson, who her memorial service will be next Saturday at 10 a.m. And I wanted to, let you know about that. But also, if you were close to Char and you would want to send me some anecdotes or some thoughts or something that I might be able to include in her eulogy, I think it would be nice to have reflections from some of you in that service. And the same holds true for Doug Grafe. Have a little more time. Doug's memorial service is going to be March 30th here at 2 o'clock. But again, I would invite you, for those who knew Char or Doug, to send me some thoughts and anecdotes via email or however is most convenient for you, and I would much appreciate it. I also wanted to mention a great story in the newspaper this week. That doesn't happen very often. But I think those of you here probably already heard that the governor made a decision to reject a permit for the oil by rail terminal along the Columbia River. Yeah, that's great news indeed. And I was really struck because I think a lot of you recall that members of this congregation and myself were very active in the Proposition 2 that was on our most recent city ballot that, if passed, would have required coal companies to cover their trains and for oil companies to appropriately treat their oil so it reduces its chances of exploding and catching fire in the case of a derailment. And we got outspent on that. I can't remember. What was the ratio, Jim? Do you remember? 264,000 to 6,000, not including all the advertising on NPR, or on public radio, I should say. Don't know how that worked, but anyway, we got about 42% of the vote, but wasn't what we wanted. However, in reading the newspaper this week, the governor used our talking points. Right? He said, part parts of the 100-page recommendation cited specific risks for Spokane. It said local emergency responders would have difficulty containing a spill or fire from an oil train derailment in downtown Spokane. And it also listed the potential for oil spills to pollute the aquifer that provides the sole source of drinking water for more than 500,000 area residents, which were exactly the points we made and why we put this proposition together to begin with. So I'm glad that somebody was listening and that we can at least claim victory on this loss of permit. I would also like us to take just a few minutes here to hear from a dear friend of ours, a good friend of mine, who is visiting with us today and asked if while he was here he could take a few minutes to say something to you. So I would like to invite my dear friend, the Reverend Happy Watkins of the New Hope Baptist Church. You bet.
A pleasant good morning. It was last year I came by, talked to Todd, and I've been in this church, and it was a converted pool hall for 25 years, and we did a lot of work at the church, windows, carpet. But someone said that there's only so much lipstick you could put on the pig. So I came to Todd, and Todd gave me some ideas, and he and another friend of Todd's sat down at a coffee shop, and we did some figuring, and they said, we can do this, and I want to tell you, as of September, we're in a new church. Yeah. When I say church, we're just elated because it's a church. And then we have a reception downstairs, and now I can invite. I was ashamed to invite anybody, but now I can, and you're certainly welcome. I want to thank this congregation, because it started with you. You gave me an envelope, and I took it to my church, and it's in the magazine today, in the Fig Tree, how it started. But I want to say to you, all of you, Martin Luther King said these words, I have the audacity to believe that people everywhere should have 3 meals for their bodies: culture, education for their minds, dignity, equality, and freedoms for their spirits. And the ultimate measure of a man and a woman is not where they stand in moments of comforts and conveniences, but where they stand in moments of challenges and controversies. Todd has been a close friend of mine, and he's kept me in hot water. but a real true friend, and I thank God personally for him and for this congregation. Martin Luther King says, I don't know where we're going to go from here, but we've got some difficult days ahead. I've been to the mountaintop. And like anyone, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I looked over and I seen the promised land. And I want to let you know, I'm happy today. I'm not fearing anybody, for my eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. I want to shout today, his truth is marching on. And Martin Luther King said these words, I sought my soul I couldn't see. I sought my God, and God eluded me. I sought Todd. And I found all 3. God bless you.
Thank you, my dear friend. I'm not sure I deserve equal billing with some of those, but I like to think that I do, but I'm pretty sure I don't. But anyway, it's so great to share a friendship with you and to support each other, and it's been great, and I'm so happy that your new space is working out for you and your wonderful community. So we look forward to continuing to build our friendship with you and with your congregation together. I can't promise to keep you out of trouble. That's our job. But I do hope you'll take just a few moments to say hi to Happy, to say hi to some other folks that you've been looking forward to seeing all week, and maybe make some new friends today. And if you are joining us for the first time, please don't be shy. We're very happy that you're here, so extend a hand and we'll be glad to greet you. like it. Thank you, and as always, there'll be more opportunity to visit with one another after our service during our social hour, so I invite you to please stay around for that. For now, we're going to move forward with our service by lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith, the symbol of our unity and our solidarity, of our openness and our inclusion, of our community and our individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need, and may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever it's been found.
This is from our hymnal number 556. These roses. These roses under my window make no reference to former roses or to better ones. They are for what they are. They exist with God today. There is no time to them. There is simply the rose. It is perfect in every moment of its existence. Before a leaf bud has burst, its whole life acts. In the full-blown flower, there is no more. In the leafless root, there is no less. Its nature is satisfied, and its satisfied nature in all moments alike. But we postpone or remember. We do not live in the present, but with the reverted eye lament the past, or heedless of the riches that surround us, stand on tiptoe to foresee the future. We cannot be happy or strong until we too live with nature in the present above time.
Our first in-service hymn is number 8, Mother Spirit, Father Spirit, and you'll find it either on the screen or if you care to access your gray hardback hymnal, it's in there too. This is from our Transylvanian roots over in Europe, and I think you will enjoy it for its connection and its questioning and questing. Please stand as you're willing and able.
Of heart up here, and especially good thinkers. So come on up, hurry up. I'm going to need a lot of help because I am going to tell you a riddle today. Who knows what a riddle is?
It's like a tricky, it's like a question where you have to think outside the box. Did you hear that? A question where you have to think outside the box.
Does anybody else have an idea?
It's like something that you don't listen, and you have a clip chart that you go down.
That's not a riddle, buddy.
It was a good try. Okay, this riddle is from a book that you would love. It's called Unriddling, and it's by Alvin Schwartz. So what's the name of the book?
Unriddling.
Okay, and in this riddle, I'm going to ask you to think of the solutions. So are you ready? Who's ready? Oh, good. Okay. So this is about a girl who was locked up in a metal room. Now, a metal room had no windows, and it only has a door. There's a lock on the door, but there's no key to unlock it. Now, there are 4 things in the room that could help the girl get out. And she is so smart that she figures out 4 different ways to get out of the room. So here are the things that are in the room that she might use. There's a piano, there's a table, there's a baseball bat, and there's a saw. Now, will you all think for just a minute about how she could use those things to get out of the room?
She could use a saw. She could cut out.
That's a very good solution.
She could use the baseball bat to smash the lock, or use the saw to cut the lock off. Those are the 2 ones I think.
Use the piano to make a loud noise so someone can try and break in.
Very good solution. So I'm going to give you one solution that will give you an idea of what is the idea of this riddle solving. The girl used the saw. She sawed the table in 2 halves. 2 halves make a hole, and she climbed out the hole. Okay, now you see what kind of solutions are there. Think.
Well, that's not really a solution, is it? I mean, maybe you have told us that.
Okay, then this person is the truth-o-meter here. Okay, anybody else? Think of a solution. Oh, she's looking on her.
Couldn't she have just opened the door? Couldn't she have just opened the door?
No, because it's locked.
Never said it was locked. You said
Yeah, I did. I did say it was locked. Who heard it was locked?
never said the lock was locked.
Oh, very smart thinking. Whoa, I have to be careful with that. Okay, anybody else? Okay.
Use the baseball bat to knock out. Use the baseball bat to knock out the lock and get out the door.
Okay, what could she do in baseball if you have 3 strikes? What happens? Oh!
She could play a whole note on the piano.
Okay, did you hear that? Play a whole note on the piano.
Yeah. You can hit the piano with the baseball bat. Make a really loud noise and call.
Oh, wow. So, I have the other solutions. I've given you how many? 2. Okay, the next one is that, I have to think about this for a minute, that did I give you the table and the saw? Yeah. Okay, thank you. I need help. The short-term memory is just fading away. Woo. Okay, then the next one is that baseball bat. We got the piano and the key. Okay, thank you very much. So, that was back there. All right, so she sawed the table in half, and 2 halves make a whole. All right, I have to do these in order. So she played the right key in the piano, and that unlocked the door. So the next one is that she took the baseball bat, 3 strikes and you're out. Oh, I gave you all of those already? I'm cheap. She saw the table in half, 2 halves make a whole, and she climbed out the hole. So the last one is, thank you for helping me, Sheila. I need a lot of help. So the last one is She ran around and around and around the room until she wore herself out. I'm not done. And when she got out, she was so joyous and thrilled that she got out that she shouted long and hard until she became a little horse. And then she got on that horse and rode away. Maybe I should bring that book every time, right? Okay, let's say goodbye to you. See ya. Thanks for your help.
We now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which sustains this community and its mission to the larger world. Thank you, Marilyn.
Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Is a riddle and a mystery, mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Mystery from life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we mystery from life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where are we? Where are we going? Where are we? Where are we going? Mystery come from? Mystery are we? Where are we going? Mystery come from? Mystery are we? Where are we going? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery.
We'll now kindle our candles of care for those who are most on our thoughts and minds this morning. And want to begin with a candle for Jane and Steve Huguera. Steve is currently in the hospital, and Jane asked us to kindle a candle for both of them. Doesn't want any visitors at this time, but would appreciate your phone calls. Also would like to kindle a candle for the Anselmo Monarch family, who could use our loving thoughts at this time, and also for Paul and Bree Hernandez and their entire family, who could also use our love and support these days. And then a candle for Kathy and Richard Seeley. Got word today that Kathy is also at Sacred Heart at this time, and the family asked for us to think and pray for them. So let's take a moment of silence on behalf of others who might be on your thoughts and hearts this morning, and as always, you'd be welcome to name them aloud at this time if you'd like. Those named aloud and those embraced in our silence, and all those who are suffering in our world at this hour, we hold in our community with compassion.
This is from Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. So relax, get comfortable, get your feet on your floor, close your eyes if you're willing. It is impossible to communicate from one plane to another plane. It won't function at all. You have to rise up to another plane of being. Only then suddenly can you see. And when you see and experience, then the trust is fulfilled. But before you see, one has to have faith to have trust, just to allow the transformation.
My reading today are the lyrics from what is really my favorite John Denver song. It's called "The Wings That Fly Us Home." It's not one that he actually wrote. It's one that his writing partner, Joe Henry, wrote most of the words to. But I just think it's so beautiful. I hope you get to hear him sing it sometime. I often, when I'm talking to others about Unitarianism and Universalism, this is the song I play to accompany the section on Unitarianism. I think it really is could be our Unitarian anthem. There are many ways of being in this circle we call life. A wise man seeks an answer, burns his candle through the night. Is a jewel just a pebble that found a way to shine? Is a hero's blood more righteous than a hobo's sip of wine? Did I speak to you one morning on some distant world away? Did you save me from an arrow? Did you lay me in a grave? Were we brothers on a journey? Did you teach me how to run? Were we broken by the waters? Did I lie you in the sun? I dreamed you were a prophet in a meadow. I dreamed I was a mountain in the wind. I dreamed you knelt and touched me with a flower. I awoke with this, a flower in my hand. I know that love is seeing all the infinite in one, in the brotherhood of creatures, who the Father, who the Son. The vision of your goodness will sustain me through the cold. Take my hand now to remember when you find yourself alone and the Spirit fills the darkness of the heavens. It fills the endless yearning of the soul. It lives within a star too far to dream of. It lives within each part and is the whole. It's the fire and the wings that fly us home.
Over the next 2 Sundays, we will be also celebrating 2 extraordinary women. Next week, you'll hear the words of Sojourner Truth from a special trio with the Weddle twins that are happening next week. Today, we are celebrating Harriet Tubman, who was a small-statured woman who was huge and did so much for our country. Harriet was called the Moses of her people, and she ran the Underground Railway.
I know what Deb was thinking. We nailed that. That was great. Thank you. Thank you.
I know what they were thinking. Why does my director always cry?
Well, it was, just a great performance, but also the meaning beautiful. So thank you all so much. I'm going to talk about a small subject today, the universe. So I'll start small. I'll start with the Earth. The Earth is about 8,000 miles across. And that is about 1 billion times bigger than you are, than any human being. And a human being is about 1 billion times bigger than a single atom. So each of us is like an imperceptible atom upon the earth. From our relative perspective, the world really is a big place, as we say, which, given all of its unknowns due to our ability to perceive only our immediate microscopic reality, can make it a pretty scary place, too. From almost our beginning, humans have attempted to conquer this fear by creating stories to explain the world and what it's all about. Some of us have looked to nature and other animals to find our way. Some have followed the way of our ancestors before us, and some imagine that the world must have been fashioned by gods and then sought to discover and follow their ways. Throughout our history, finding our way in the world has been an attempt to boil something so incomprehensibly large into a few simple truths that everyone can grasp and live by. Judaism and Christianity have the 10 Commandments. Islam has 5 pillars. Buddhism has 4 noble truths and an eightfold path. And even us Unitarian Universalists have 7 principles. But it's not only through religion that we seek these elusive answers to help explain everything about a world that's 1 billion times bigger than we are. Making meaning, some suggest, may be the very thing that defines and drives our species. I just found out this week that when asked why we should go to the moon, for example, Neil Armstrong, which was at the time the most expensive project in human history, Neil Armstrong said, "It's in our nature, deep in our soul. We're required to do these things just as salmon swim upstream. We want to know what it's all about, how it works, why it's even here, why we're here. That's why our bookstores are filled with manuals for dummies and idiots' guides. And best-selling titles like The 4 Agreements, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, 12 Rules for Life, The 5 Love Languages, and 52 Small Changes, promising just 1 year to a happier, healthier you. If only it were that easy. Finding one religion, one path, or one book that boils everything down to just a few easy steps. Then we wouldn't have to fear losing our way in the world, the vast sea of uncertainty that lies beyond the shores of the tiny microcosm our fictions wrap us up in like a child's security blanket. But even if it were that simple to explain our world, that pale blue dot, 1 billion times larger than any of us, we still would not have explained much at all. For if on a clear night we look up into the night sky to peek out at the Milky Way, we're lucky to see only about 8,000 of its 100,000 billion stars. That's 0.0000008%. And if we could somehow leave the dot and travel through our galaxy, going at the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second, it would take 100,000 years to cross. At the same speed, it would take another 2.5 million years to reach our closest galactic neighbor, the Andromeda system. In addition to the Milky Way and Andromeda, our small corner of the universe, known as Laniakea, is a supercluster of approximately 100,000 other galaxies, each with billions or trillions of stars. And there are an estimated 10 million other superclusters in the known universe alone. And the known universe, which is 28 billion light years across, that's the universe we've been able to detect in all directions from our planet, the known universe. 28 billion light years across, meaning that's how long it would take us to cross it, traveling at the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second. And that 28 billion light year expanse is less than an atom compared to all that's left of the universe. Just to comprehend how long 28 billion years is, if you began counting to just 1 billion right now, and go ahead and start if you want in your head, you'll be 31 years older by the time you finish. Some of us may not have that much time, so just forget about it. And 28 billion years is twice as long as the age of the universe itself. In short, in other words, the universe is huge. It's really huge. It's so big, so full of mystery, of unknowns, of dark matter and dark energy, that the idea it can all be boiled down into a handful of commands or steps or habits or principles is really absurd. While most religions can provide us a false sense of security through a false sense of certainty, no religion has ever come close to disclosing the meaning of our world, let alone our entire universe. And that's why I prefer mysticism to populist religions, because it helps us accept, embrace, and thrive on the mystery of it all. And rather than adopting a provincial or tribal view of everything, which claims our way is the only way, mysticism encourages us to transcend the limitations of our ways, of our senses, and of our beliefs, to connect with and commune with all that is. That's why mystics from every tradition are inspired by nature and other creatures, because its goal is to become one with all that is, and to stop pretending all that is what's in our immediate vicinity, and that we've already managed to discover all of the good ideas. So rather than recoiling from the unknown by separating from the world, calling it an unholy, fallen, sinful place, or but an illusion and delusion we must not desire or cling to, the mystic bounds into the world, seeking to imitate her ways, and by uniting with her. This is why mystics like The Christian mystic Meister Eckhart said, "Every creature is a word of God and a book about God." And why Hildegard of Bingen said, "This word manifests itself in every creature." And why Mechthild of Magdeburg said, "The truly wise person kneels at the feet of all creatures." And why Evelyn Underhill said, "The uncreated light manifests itself through created things." So the mystic falls in love with the world, seeking to discover the divine hidden within everyone and everything. The world in a grain of sand, heaven in a wildflower, infinity in your hand, eternity in an hour. O forest and woods, seated by the hand of the beloved, St. John of the Cross said in search of that one burning in my heart. O green meadows, framed with flowers, did he pass through you? But again, the mystic knows that even the hoop of the world is still too small, beautiful and profound as it is, and that to truly become one with all that is, one must also transcend the boundaries of our pale blue dot. This is what Rumi understood when he said, "I am the orders of being, the circling galaxy, the evolutionary intelligence, the lift and the falling away." And what Eckhart was getting at when he said, in the innermost and deepest aspect of the soul, God creates the whole cosmos. It's what the father of religious humanism, once a minister of our very church and also a mystic, John Dietrich, meant when he said, "Stones and trees and people and stars are all made of the same thing." Which isn't unlike what another of our former beloved ministers and mystics, the Reverend Dr. Bill Houth, meant when he said, "I define a mystic as a person who is serious about coming into harmony with the cosmic whole." Indeed, such union, according to Evelyn Underhill, is the true goal of the mystic quest, the total annihilation or reabsorption of the individual soul into the infinite. Mystics have long grasped what today's physicists call quantum entanglement, that a small particle at one end of the universe, and I told you how big the universe is, right? Not that we really can comprehend it, it's mind-boggling. But a particle at one end of the universe can behave instantly, faster than light speed, to influence another particle at the opposite end of the universe. A phenomenon that Einstein called spooky action at a distance. the official scientific term. Our blue pearl of a planet may be far less than a particle in the vast cosmos, but that doesn't mean that it isn't part of the whole, that it isn't one with the universe. It may be that on a quantum level, it really is possible for us to hold infinity in the palm of our hand. Yet today, our species continues to miss this truth, and it is in a profound spiritual crisis because of it. Our greatest problems, racism, sexism, poverty, hunger, epidemics, income inequality, xenophobia, the global refugee crisis, epidemics, war, environmental degradation, and, of course, global warming can all be traced back to our failure to recognize this truth. Traced back to our species' failure to grasp what theologian Matthew Fox understands, that everyone is born a mystic who experiences the unity of all things. And what he means by this is that we're all born in an undifferentiated state, meaning that we can't tell the difference between ourselves and anyone or anything else. In his book, Escape from Freedom, Erich Fromm says, a few months elapse after birth before the child even recognizes another person as such and is able to react with a smile. And it is a year before the child ceases to confuse itself with the universe. While this process of differentiation is key to our consciousness, to becoming conscious, consciousness itself can and should move us toward a state of differentiated oneness, to the rediscovery and awareness of our connection to the universe and all our relations. Again, as Fromm put it, the social history of humanity started with its emergence from a state of oneness with the natural world to an awareness of itself as an entity separate from surrounding nature and humankind. In short, as a species, we have largely lost our sense of relatedness to our environment. Thus, the deepest need of humanity, Fromm says, the deepest need of humanity is the need to overcome our separateness, to leave the prison of our aloneness. Some seek to overcome this sense of aloneness artificially by clustering together in groups that cling to rigid ideologies, often at the expense of outsiders and just about everything else. They come to mistake their small worldview as the world itself, as the whole world and nothing but the world. But these psychological security blankets, these immature attempts at understanding the world, Fromm says, stand in the way of our development, the development of our reason and our critical capacities. For Fromm, by identifying so narrowly with one's particular group as a Christian or an American or a conservative or a Seahawks fan, or maybe a Patriots fan today, I guess, or what have you, and not as human beings, one fails to become a free, self-determining, complete individual. Today, a lot of people are asking why a lot of other people can so consistently vote against their own best interest. Fromm says it's because one may suffer from hunger or suppression, but one does not suffer from the worst of all pains, complete aloneness and doubt. It's a tragic paradox that the very thing that drives us to the stars, like the salmon, that desire to overcome the prison of our aloneness by finding our place in the universe and becoming one with it, is the very thing that pushes so many to isolate and to segregate and to build walls that can be seen from space instead, to protect themselves from others. But if, like young Siddhartha, we dare venture beyond the walls that at once protect and imprison us to seek enlightenment and become a Buddha, then let's think bigger than we can even imagine. Bigger than our zip code, bigger than our hometown, bigger than our country, bigger even than the particle of space dust we call a planet, and look deep beyond the Milky Way, beyond Andromeda, beyond Laniakea, the supercluster of 100,000 galaxies that is our small corner of the known universe, and beyond even its 28 billion light-year expanse that is itself but a particle compared to the entire universe. Let's look beyond all of that to find our way. Think you can do it? I won't futilely attempt to list all the ways, which are endless, and there for you to discover on your own. But I will point to some of those that I've grasped while pondering its wonder. The first is one that I've already touched upon, The way of the universe is mystery. Einstein said the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and of all science. One to whom this emotion is a stranger, who can no longer pause to stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead. Einstein, who famously equated matter with energy, E equals mc squared, eventually concluded energy is all there is. In his words, there is no place in this new kind of physics for both the field and matter. The field is the only reality. Today's physicists tell us the entire universe is more than 95% dark energy and dark matter, and that if we could see our own bodies on a quantum level, we would appear as void as intergalactic space. We are mostly not here. Mystery within mystery, the Tao Te Ching says, is the gateway to all understanding. We begin in darkness, dwell in darkness, die in darkness. Darkness is the nature of our universe, and it is why we must become mystics, comfortable living in the mist, comfortable living in the mystery, in the doubt and the uncertainty. When I speak of darkness, St. John of the Cross said, I mean the absence of knowledge. You must learn to be at home in this darkness. A second way of the universe is to embrace. For the universe is always expanding, always opening its arms. This is one of the great mysteries, the paradox, that the universe is all there is, that nothing exists beyond its boundaries. If it did, it would be part of the universe. Yet it's getting bigger, expanding into nothing. Thus, if we want to live according to the universe, we must keep expanding too. As individuals, we imitate the universe when we continually open our minds and our hearts to new ideas and to new ways and new possibilities, and to others who have other ways. As a society, we imitate the universe by opening our borders to those seeking refuge, and our systems and opportunity to those who are too often left out. In his book, The Awakened Heart, Gerald May says that the Hebrew word for salvation, Yeshua, connotes space and the freedom and security which is gained by the removal of constriction. You know how good it feels when you clean out the attic or the garage or a closet, right? That's the Hebrew idea of salvation. And that's the way of our universe too. Liberation, freedom, opening, forever widening our circles of inclusion. It's also the way of the universe, this might not surprise you, to recycle, reuse, and recreate. Though it's continued to expand, there is nothing in the universe today that wasn't here when it began as a tiny singularity, a small seed, smaller than the smallest particle, 13.7 billion years ago. Everything in the universe changes form, but energy, which Einstein says is all there is, cannot be destroyed. Today, with each inhalation, we take in almost a quadrillion of the atoms, more than 1,000 trillion. That's 10 followed by 24 zeros. We take in almost a quadrillion atoms that were formed at the very beginning of the universe 13.7 billion years ago. And with each exhalation, we give a quadrillion atoms back. As Deepak Chopra says, you have 1 million atoms right now that have been in the body of every single being that has existed since the dawn of creation. In just the last 3 weeks, a quadrillion atoms have gone through your body, and that have gone through the body of every other living species on this planet. The universe doesn't waste its precious resources, and neither should we. It follows from this that it is also the way of the universe to unify. As mentioned, through the necessary process of our differentiation, we find ourselves feeling separate from others to the point of feeling alone and sometimes even superior to those we separate from. But as the very word implies, the universe is one, and as part of it, we are one with it, whether we want to admit it or not. The trick is recognizing this is so. As a species, we've ignored our cosmic connection by inventing anthropocentric stories to convince us that we are separate from the rest of the universe, from nature, from other creatures, and from other people who don't look, act, or think just like we do. But the very word human means earth. Just as other words like Pueblo or Adam refer to both earth and people. From a broader cosmic perspective, humans are humus. Humans are drops of earth. And the earth is a drop of the universe. It is through this realization of our relatedness to all things and all beings, and our responsibility toward them as a semi-conscious being, proto-conscious maybe, we're not really very conscious. We're unaware of most everything, so like I said, we live in the dark. But as let's say, be polite and call ourselves a semi-conscious being, through this process, the universe itself is beginning to become aware of its own interdependent nature. The universe is waking up. As mythologist Joseph Campbell said, if we think of ourselves as coming out of the earth rather than having been thrown here from somewhere else, you see that we are the earth. We are the consciousness of the earth. These are the eyes of the earth. This is the voice of the earth. It also seems to me that the way of the universe is happiness. You can just look at my good friend Happy Watkins to know that that's true. There is a lot of chaos and destruction in the universe too. But in the wake of such, cosmic forces always work to reestablish equilibrium. It is the gravitational push and pull of objects in space that holds everything, including our own solar system and our planet, in place. Some think of happiness as a state of joy, but I consider joy to be a type of elation, an exaggerated state that feels great, but isn't one that we can stay in for long any more than we should remain sad or depressed. The root of happiness, rather, is the same as the root of happening, from an old English word that means chance occurrence. So being happy means being content with what's happening. Being okay with the way things are. Our faces smile and cry when we're glad or sad, and relax again when these feelings have passed. But happiness is our default state, the state that our bodies and our souls want to return to, a state of harmony, of equilibrium and contentment with what is. Thus, by my definition, the universe is a happy place. And the way of the universe is to be happy. Finally, perhaps Most importantly, I would say that the way of the universe is love. As cosmologist Brian Swim explains, at the cosmic scale, the basic dynamism of the universe is the attraction each galaxy has for every other galaxy. Nothing in all science has been established and studied with greater attention and detail than this primary attraction of each part of the universe for every other part. He goes on to say that if we're going to think about love in its cosmic dimension, we must start with the universe as a whole. We must begin with the attraction that permeates the entire macrostructure. I'm speaking precisely of the basic binding energy found everywhere in reality. In other words, Swim is saying that love is what holds it all together. Thus, as others have suggested long ago, that if we want to be in accord with the universe, we must love one another. The way of the universe is mystery. The way of the universe is to embrace. The way of the universe is recycling, reusing, and recreating. The way of the universe is to unify. The way of the universe is happiness. The way of the universe is love. If you want to be one with the universe, these are some of the things to put into practice. As I said, there are many other ways too, countless others for you to discover and consider. And this we must do. For our nearsighted stories have brought our world to the brink of destruction and our species to a turning point in which we must expand our thinking or get out of the game. If the way of Western civilization and Western religion was once the way of election and differentiation from others and from the earth, the late Thomas Berry wrote, the way now is the way of intimate communion with the larger human community and with the universe itself. Thank you.
Well, we have a beautiful hymn that we don't often use that we're singing this morning, number 4, I Brought My Spirit to the Sea. I'm going to have Michelina play it slowly through for you so you can hear the melody, and you can rise as you're willing and able. This is T.S. Eliot. What we call a beginning is often the end, and to make an end is to make a beginning.
The end is where we start from. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our explorings will be to arrive where we started and to know the place for the first time.